When a country is on a brink of collapse and corruption is all around us, there comes a host that breaks it all down and reveals the actual news. Ladies and gentlemen, Matt Maldonado on Madness for Life News. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, on this Friday edition on June 15th, 2012. I am your host, Matt Maldonado, on Madness4life News. I'm going to be getting into the wearechange confronting Rand Paul, him ducking down and going, he talked about Bilderberg, don't talk about it, Mitt Romney. It's official, Presidency Now A Dictatorship. I'm going to be talking about Obama allowing illegals staying in the country, not being deported, like ever. Obama attack on First Amendment if reelected, which is true. He wants to attack the First Amendment, which he already passed executive orders and laws to not allow freedom of speech and assembly at different rallies, different places, so they don't have to hear anybody speak. How dare you want to speak? We are gods and you shut up. All right, the next one I'm going to be getting into is NATO access set to vast disinformation campaign in Syria. They're going to allow the CIA to bring out these images on their television sets stating that Israel is bad and the presidency is bad, even though Al-Qaeda is going to run everything and have the Al-Qaeda flag running just like in Libya. And last but not least, the CDC says fluoride has no evidence of benefit for infants. All right. So let me get into this right now. The top story right now is the confronting Rand Paul. Now, when you see Luke Rudkowski doing this, he basically just talks to Rand and says, you know what? What about the Bilderberg group? Romney there was witnesses shown that they saw Mitt Romney at Bilderberg Group. What's your comment on that? You have any comments? And he's just walking away with his suit on his shoulders, walking away. Just don't talk to me. We just got out of a meeting. Just don't talk. Just please don't talk. Just shut up. Just like in Daily Paul, where they say that everybody should just grow up. Really, grow up, even though your supporters are the ones that put you on the map. They put you on the map, Rand. Not the Republicans, not the Democrats, not anybody else, but libertarians. They actually thought you were your father's son. Well, I guess you're not, because you want to be the same as everybody else. So once you become the same, why don't we just stay the same? It's just ridiculous. You're standing up against drone attacks, you're standing up against the NDAA, you're standing up against the lawlessness of Barack Obama, but instead you would rather go with Mitt Romney. That's the same as Obama. I mean, this is ridiculous. He doesn't want to end the Fed. He doesn't want to stop the drones. He doesn't want to stop the re-education camps. He doesn't want to get rid of the FEMA camps. He doesn't. He wants all of it. And he wants to implode the country even more. I saw the CPAC speech and I'm going, wow, like he got his speaking slot. Isn't that great? He got a speaking slot, even though none of those Republicans give two craps for him. None of them do. It is just a joke. It's like cartoon level stupidity. I just don't understand it. It's, why would you want to go with a party that, first of all, will backstab you in the end, that will also just totally turn the other way when you ask them, like, hey, we have to pass this bill to get rid of the drone strikes in America. We have to get rid of that. It's like, no, we have to have drone strikes. You want to have like explosions everywhere? Yes, we have to implode the country. And it's the same with the Democrats. You know, and I don't, and I like Gary Johnson, but to think from the Liberty Movement that Gary Johnson's going to get you guys out of this is lunacy. He's pro-war. He's like, no, I'm not. I want to get rid of the war in Iraq and Afghanistan and stop it in Iran and not have one in Syria. And well, you said you wanted one in Uganda. You know, you want to tax marijuana when, first of all, it shouldn't be decided by the government. It should be decided by the markets. And I already got into this with my other podcast, and it is just, If you guys want to see the video, it's at We Are Change on YouTube or wearechange.org or even at infowars.com. They confront him twice on it, and then they have this other woman just blocking Abby Martin going, you can't talk to him, and it's so horrible, how dare you want to talk to him, even though she didn't say anything, but still it has this attitude of like, don't talk to him, that's too much of a good issue, and we're not going to get into that. Oh, really? When the Bilderberg Group is openly calling for world government and destabilization of countries, that they literally go in there, talk about policies secretly, not really secret anymore, but secretly, and try to push sustainable development, which is AKA Agenda 21, that George W.H. Bush signed and 177 other great leaders signed, which I was trying to talk about in my other podcast, that they were trying to think that Agenda 21 would be the next step for the solution. And so that's where he's going to go. He wants to go for the very Republicans that, first of all, even if you try to influence them in this type of liberty idea, they're just going to just laugh at you. You're not for war. What a joke. It is just cartoon level ridiculous. I just had enough. And when I was watching the newscast of him just talking, he's just like, no, he's pro against the wars. You know, he's against the NDAAs and stuff like that. He's against the Fed. He wants to help it, and it's just no, he doesn't, Senator. He said that he's not going to go after the Fed. He wants more transparency of the Fed. He does. It's okay, but he never said that. It is just this weird kind of like love fest, just like what happened with Obama. I mean, it is just disgusting. It's just very weird, man. All right, I'm going to get into this right here. It's official. Presidency Now A Dictatorship, even though it was already dictatorship when George W. Bush was in charge. But yet this is more of a dictatorship because of what Obama is doing. Obama's latest outrage, by the way, this is from InfoWars from Kurt Nemo. Obama's latest outrage violation of the law of the United States demonstrate that the nation has arrived at its distinction, a dictatorship lord over by an imperial ruler. On Friday, Obama instructed the government to ignore an influx of illegal aliens streaming over the border because, hey, when those illegal aliens come in and they take everybody's jobs and reduce all of the benefits, and they take all the benefits and, you know, they deindustrialize the country even further, even though they're illegal. They pay them less so they don't have to pay the actual citizens the amount that they need so they can live. And, hey, they get all the benefits and it's all right. And I know people are going to say, hey, you're racist because you don't like the fact that to open up the border. Well, if you open up the border, it's going to destabilize the country. So enjoy. The move was implemented to sway Latino voters into the Obama camp in preparation for the upcoming election against fellow establishment candidate Romney. Well, first of all, it's admitted that the fact that every single publication is turning against Obama. The Bilderberg Group is literally wanting Mitt Romney in charge. It's just going to be this continual spin. Like, okay, we got kicked in the ass by the Democrats. Okay, now we're going to go Republican. Okay, now we got stepped down by the Republicans. We're going to go Democrat. Okay, we're just going to continue the same trend over and over again. And I think, you know what? If that's the case, we should vote for Gary Johnson. You should. You should go vote because he's actually better than Obama and Mitt Romney. All right, and if Ron Paul doesn't endorse Gary Johnson, I'm sorry, it's just going to be all the same, and his legacy will just be tarnished and just destroyed. All the stuff he's worked for would just be for nothing. Well, not necessarily for nothing. People are waking up because of him, but yet in a sense, doesn't that mean also it's for nothing because of the fact that he turned against his fellow constituents? Kind of makes you think. Obama's violation of law and the Constitution make his predecessor look like a picker by way of comparison. A pecker. Since he was voted into office by deluded citizens. That's true. It's not just deluded. It was just a love fest for him. I mean, people were crying and just loving every bit of it. It was just ridiculous. And even though I already knew the man was a schmuck, an idiot, a moron, I already knew, well, he's not really a moron. He's smart because he knows what he's doing. Because he knows who his masters are. You know, he better do it. He's going to pat everybody on the head. And I'm going to get you. I'm going to pay for your taxes and your rent and give you a new car. Yeah, I'm going to get a new house. This is the best thing in my life. And everybody's crying over nothing. But hey, now we got military on the streets, NDAA, drone strikes coming, and the government having more and more power when it's supposed to be more limited. But hey. Who needs the Constitution? Who needs a country? We just need total austerity and just love every bit of it. But not me. And I hope none of you either as well. All right, continuing here. I just lost myself. Who believed he would pay for their rent and food, of course. Obama has enacted by fiat or worked with Congress to bypass a number of bills that have increased the power of the executive and the unconstitutional authority of the federal government. He said it, but really, it didn't really happen. National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, this monstrosity this allows the government to circumvent the Fifth Amendment. The NDAA gives the government the authority to dissent American citizens as terrorists and indefinitely detain them without resources. And they're going to torture you to death and just go, hey, you shouldn't have said anything about the government. You shouldn't have said it's bad. And, you're supposed to love it. Just like Romans 13, they're the rulers and they're supposed to love it. Even though if you actually read Romans 13, it actually states the fact if they're against God and not really teaching the way, and it's actually against the citizens and human beings, you're actually supposed to stand against it. But hey, who needs to read that? That doesn't. That's not really what it reads. We'll read it again. And indefinitely detain them without resource to courts or due process of law without suspect charges. And he continues on from there. And I mean, he's going to continue to do this. It goes into Obamacare and treaties and every other executive order. You guys can look it up on Infowars.com. I mean, it is just insanity. How much are we going to put up with until we stand up against this, people? I mean, The next step is like, hey, you know what? We're going to put in re-education camps, not necessarily re-education camps. We're going to put in, FEMA camps. And then we're going to put the criminals in there first, and we're going to test them out a little bit. Oh, there's homeless people now. Well, why don't we put them in there? We're going to help them out with the resources. We're not really going to help them with a job, so we're going to give them labor slavery. It's good. They're going to get like 40 cents an hour. It's okay, They could have easily found themselves a better job, but really we're industrializing everything. We have to minimize everything as much as possible. So we're going to give you minimum amounts of food, minimum amounts of water, minimum amounts of everything, resources and that such. And then near the time that we're running out, we're going to pose as saviors and say, guess what? We're going to have gladiatorial events. So please fight and sit down and shut up. I have just had enough. I'm not in the mood anymore to just go, hey, you know what? I'm just going to party all day, and that's really going to dilute everything, and it's going to go away. That's going to go away. Yeah, let's smoke some reefer. Yeah, let's drink some alcohol. Yeah, let's do all this stuff. And really, where's it going to leave you? Well, into total misery and depression. I mean... Not necessarily weed, but, alcohol could bring you into total depression, as I've seen it. But hey, I'm a kook and a conspiracy theorist. Hey, seeing my country fall into bits, it's just a laughable thing. Ain't it funny to see my country fail? Not necessarily. It's actually very depressing. Not that many people stand up, and it's just a minority standing up. There's going to be a stronger minority than people think, and the government is going to fail. They're going to fail. They're legitimate. Their new world order is illegitimate, and they're going to fail. They're going to fall to their knees, and they're going to beg for mercy. And you know what? They're going to go to jail, and they're going to be hung for it. It's plain and simple. This is the reason why you need to bring back the hangman's noose. You have to. You have to bring back kind of the death penalty. But yet when the government's involved in the death penalty, they won't pull the trigger because those are people of interest, and they want them to be released on to the American citizens because they are the problem. But hey, I'm bad for asking for the death penalty because, how dare you want for the death penalty even though that there's actually other people dying? And it's well, that has nothing to do with what I was talking about. It's about the death penalty, people that deserve to be killed, the ones that actually killed people more than just that one dude. I mean, you kill one guy to save millions. Does that mean that I agree with the fact that they had to kill the Emirate al-Awlaki in Yemen of the drone strikes? No, I don't agree with that. Because first of all, he was dining at the Pentagon, dining there. And he didn't actually have due process of law to go out there and kill him. He was a person of interest, and they go, well, you know what? We're going to kill him and just say, hey, we got him. We got him. It's A+ for us. Did it save millions of lives? Not necessarily, because the drone strikes are actually killing more people than it's saving. All I'm saying is that people need to be accountable for their actions. Plain and simple. It's the same for me. If I killed thousands of people, which I won't, if I killed thousands of people, I should be incarcerated and put to death by law. But if you have government involved, not really the people, then that will not happen because I'm a person of interest to them. And we need to actually investigate this and actually get interviews with him and write a book about him. And it's so interesting. Charles Manson was so interesting. Him and his cult. That's why you see Rob Zombie glorifying him and all these other people glorifying him. The guy's a Nazi. He's a Nazi. He doesn't care about you. You morons. But hey, I'm digressing. I'm going off to other points here. Let's get into this. Obama plans attack on First Amendment if reelected, which he already talked about that before, by passing these laws, which I forget the name of them. There were executive orders to make sure that none of these peace rallies, these freedom of speech rallies, and these right to assemble and these protests happen. Like if you go to an event that the president or any congressman or senator or anybody like that goes to an event, and you cannot protest. You can't protest against their policies. You can't protest against their the way that they're passing laws or anything like that. Obama's chief political strategist announced earlier this week, this is from Kurt Nemino again, announced earlier this week that the administration will push for a constitutional amendment to roll back free speech if his boss is reelected in November. When we win, we will use whatever tools out there, including a constitutional amendment, to turn this back. He said, I understand the free speech argument, but when the Koch brothers can spend $400 million more than the McCain campaign and the Republican Party spent last time, that's very... this is so stupid. They're basically saying that, like, if they can spend this much amount of money on the campaign, then they can spend a lot of money on, like, hey, you cannot have freedom of speech anymore. You cannot stand up against your government anymore. That's why they're going to put you all in a FEMA camp and re-education camps. So welcome to Bakerstand, occupied America, run by foreign banks, by the robber barons of our time. And I'm sorry for everybody. This has never been done before in 235 years to make it possible for the government to control political speech in this country. Well, that's happened before. I think that's happened with Nixon, with Lyndon Johnson, with who else? There's George W. Bush a little bit, but yet even though he did allow freedom of speech out there, but this one is just off the charts. They might as well be tamed with this leader. I mean, but hey, I'm still a racist because of the fact I don't like Obama. I'm still a kook, and I'm supposed to just sit back and just go, you know what? It's good for them to just take away my rights. It's just really fun, Who needs an actual country? Who really needs actual freedom? Who needs it? I mean, come on. Who needs a car, too? Because they're going to take it away and give it to your neighbor because, hey, that's just the American way, right? Even though you're supposed to earn it. A truly radical thing to say out loud, even if you believed it, remarked Senator Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. It is just ridiculous. It's blasphemy. It's against it's treason to say, hey, we're going to change the Constitution. Okay, you guys changed it so many times, it's still illegal. It's like saying, like, hey, I'm going to pass a law saying that, like, all men can rape women. It's like, well, you can't. Where's the moral law? Where's the law? We created it. It's like, well, it can be destroyed by the laws you guys put in place. I mean, it gets almost cartoon level of tyranny in your face. America was built on free speech, the most important part of the Bill of Rights. And so we need to defend speech we don't like. Like, you should stand up for people like Michael Savage and Rush Limbaugh. I'll stand up for them too because, hey, even though I don't like them, I will stand up for them because they want them arrested and off the air. And if me defending them to stay on the air, then fine, I will defend them because they have free speech. Just as long as nobody is trying to be out there to kill people, I will advocate for free speech. Continuing here. And we certainly want to fight against those who are trying to shut us up. Exactly. Such as Obama, Mitt Romney, and now I guess Rand Paul. Because hey, shut up. Like the Daily Mail saying, like, you know what? Grow up. Why don't you people just grow up? Why don't you guys shut up and just leave us alone? You guys are wrecking the country, continuing this garbage, continuing the NDAA, continuing FEMA camps, continuing all these surveillances on everybody's home, continuing the police state, continuing the checkpoints everywhere, continuing all of the states of getting rid of raw milk and fresh foods. What? Not allowing labeling of GMOs. It's just insanity. The Obama administration of using the Federal Election Commission, the Federal Communications Commission, the Securities and Exchange Commission, and the Intel Revenue Service to muzzle its critics. He added that the tactic is, it's like Nixon. Oh man, because Nixon also had an enemy list. I'm reading this thing and it's talking about Nixon. It's basically the same as that. White House Counsel John Dean said Nixon wanted to use the available federal missionary to screw our political enemies and basically try to blackmail them like they blackmailed him and said, you know what, I'm going to go forward with come out with all this stuff about the New World Order. It's like, you do, we will shoot you just like John F. Kennedy. And he went, okay, I guess I won't do it. But anyway, I don't know if I'm going to do this for an hour. Probably for about 45 minutes to 50 minutes. But yeah, and it goes on from there. They're going to attack free speech. They're going to attack also radio hosts like Alex Jones, Michael Savage, Rush Limbaugh, and others that are against the government. And they go, hey, if you're against the government, you're a commie. Well, the commies are not the ones that actually put this government in place. They're making this country into communism, turning into a Marxist fascist system, but yet we have the Bilderberg Group a part of it. Even though the communists actually took what America's economic structure was and made it into theirs, but that they made it worse. I think that was in the 30s and 40s. I have to research that more because I've heard that from Webster Tarpley. Let's go to the next one here. Yeah, this is teleprompter free news, folks. I'm just going off to like a couple topics, only like 5 topics apiece. Here we go. The NATO disinformation. NATO Gulf access set to deploy vast disinformation campaign in Syria. Member states of NATO and the GCC are preparing a co-op and a genocide in Syria. If you want to prevent these crimes, you should act now. This article on the internet and alert for elected officials. This is for InfoWars from the what is that? The VoltaireNet.net. A few days, perhaps, as early as Friday, June 15th at noon, the Syrian wanting to watch their national TV stations will see them replaced on their screens by TV programs created by the CIA studio shot. Images will show massacres that are blamed on the Syrian government. Yeah, because, hey, we need to show massacres that happened in Iraq or Afghanistan and said, see, it's your fault. Well, the government's the one that did it. Yeah, you're right, but it's your fault. What? And then we're going to put Al-Qaeda in place and then, and say, now Al-Qaeda's in charge and, Al-Qaeda's good and, the war on terror is over and we're just going to work with Al-Qaeda and just deindustrialize every country and just have another world war and, cause these wars just like Hitler. It's good. Oh, and you're against America if you say that. It has nothing to do about me being against America. I am against the government in America. We are a cursed nation, ladies and gentlemen, and it's going to continue and get worse and worse and worse. And they say that they're about to just put information out there to say that Assad is bad. Yes, he is bad. And the rebels coming in, which is Al-Qaeda, is good. What? We're going to pick two evils. So the most evil person we're going to get, okay, Al-Qaeda. They did the same thing in Libya. Okay, which evil person we're going to get? Okay, Al-Qaeda. Why don't we just not be there to begin with? Why don't we just stay out of their way? It is just insanity. I'm going to end this early. You guys can look these articles up at Infowars.com again and Voltaire.net. Actually, VoltaireNet.org. That you guys can find that. I think it's some good stuff there. All right. Continuing here with these articles. Last but not least, because I really wanted to get into this one. Where is it? I just lost it. Where did it go? Ah, there it is. CDC says fluoride has no evidence of benefit for infants in a letter to California Senator Barbara Boxer. The very woman that was confronted by Mark Dice and Luke Radowski, and she just started fleeing after they talked about the Bilderberg group. Get the cop. They asked me a question. I didn't have the answer for it, even though I didn't really answer them. The Centers for Disease Control, the CDC director, Thomas Frieden, responded to questions about fluoride and infants. The Institute of Medication, which is the IOM, in 1997 set the amount of fluoride for infants 0 to 6 months of age at 0.01 milligrams per day, which is the amount of fluoride found in breast milk. The CDC was asked if more fluoride than the amount was beneficial. The CDC director wrote, "We are unaware of data that directly answers your questions about the additional protection from tooth decay," which, by the way, it does link to tooth decay. And they go, you know what? I don't really have the answer to that question. We just don't really care because we're just going to keep putting fluoride in the water and keep putting fluoride in the toothpaste because you know what? We need to kill you. That's why dentists always give you these false information saying, fluoride's good for your teeth. That's funny because people's teeth become more and more yellow. If you put less fluoride in the toothpaste, less fluoride in the water, actually people's brains won't be as affected as much. They wouldn't have autism in higher rates. But hey, it's supposed to be fun and good, and you're supposed to love seeing your children just being dumbed down and mutilated and stuff like that. Continuing here. that could result from greater daily fluoride intake by infants 0 to 6 months of age. In other words, there is no scientific evidence that dosing babies with lots of fluoride has any benefit at all. The only benefit is to just dumb down your children. And watch SpongeBob. Patrick, let's just continue to make children act stupid. What's this, Patrick? I'm SpongeBob. And it's fun to be a retard. Why don't we give kids more knowledge instead of making them watch SpongeBob? And I see like people actually grown-ups actually watching SpongeBob. Like, what are you doing? It's a children show, and yet you're being dumbed down by SpongeBob. It's like, whoa. It's like, wow, you people just don't want to be informed. It's like, SpongeBob, really? Oh, Patrick. Ridiculous. Continuing here. Infant formula is prepared with fluoride tap water, and infants get a very large dose of fluoride, and it can exceed the... I just read this and I can't even know that word is. See, that happens to me, man. It comes and goes. Tolerable upper intake level of 1.7 milligrams per day set by the IOM in 1997 when asked what advisor health effects could occur when infants exceed the tolerable upper intake level. The director responded that the level was set to minimize the risk of moderate and serve dental fluorosis, developmental distributes in children. Fluorosis means discolored malformed teeth. That's like yellow and green and just making your teeth just rot. And hey, so you can get more higher prices, so that when you go to the dentist, it's like, hey, you gotta pay like $30,000 for these teeth. It's because of the fluoride. You're right. This is gonna sterilize people. It's too many people. So just keep continuing to give it to them. Which can be stent brown or black. Ugh. Stained brown or black. Like if you drank like coffee, your teeth would be stained brown or black. Other advisory health effects of advertently dosing babies with heavy doses of fluoride or not considered important by government agencies, because hey, it's not important that your baby is getting dumbed down and and they're increasingly getting autism and getting mentally retarded cases. I mean, because hey, we want that to happen. We want people to be mentally ill so then we can be the saviors and just help you. Just be inefficient. Because hey, they even try to say that babies are not humans. They try to pass that. And they're like, hey, babies are not humans. Like, well, what? It's like the saying now, like, what? Old people are not humans. What? They are humans. They live and breathe just like us. No, they're not. They don't have the intellect. They just don't have the intellect like we do. We're transhumanist. Now you just bow down and lick my boots. Or I can give you a job. You want me to give you a job where I work? It's so sick. What should be recommended, but shouldn't be, but isn't because fluoridation might look bad. Ooh, it looks bad. It does look bad because they're the ones that are poisoning people and poisoning little children. But hey, no one should be upset about this. They should love it. No, everybody should stand up against this because this is ridiculous. Healthcare providers should recommend the use of non-fluoride water to prefer powdered infant formula. But that recommendation is circumstantial, made in the United States. In 2006, the CDC and an American Dental Association, the ADA, finally admitted what dental research studies have been saying for many years. That infant formula prepared with fluoride water increased the risk of fluorosis. But they were actually inform parents about this risk to infants because it cast doubt on water fluoridation. All the studies out there, and then they're just going like, that's no problem. Let's just continue to do it. Well, we're going to admit it. Yeah, we sterilize the water, but so what? You're just going to pay the bill. It's your fault anyway for having children. It's like, what? What? And I don't get these people where they're like, I'm not going to have kids to, to save them from this world. It's like, what? You're not saving the child. You're saving yourself. It has nothing to do about your child here. But it has everything to do about actually saving your children if you have them. Children are not ugly creatures here. They're human beings that deserve to live and be innocent and decent and get away from this false reality that we give them. They should go in the woods. They should play. They shouldn't be taught that they shouldn't be taught sex at age 5 to age 12. Come on. Because of the fact of the internet, you don't have to teach them that any longer. You should discuss it with them when they get older. They should be as innocent until they have that discussion with the parents, not with the schools. But hey, they say that the children are not the parents anymore. They're not their responsibility. It's now the state's responsibility. But hey, I'm going off into another subject. I was like, what's this have to do with fluoridation? It's like it has everything to do with fluoridation. If they keep putting fluoride in the water and putting fluoride in your toothpaste and everything else, well, what else are they going to do? This is hurting your children. And it needs to stop. All right. I think I'm going to end it right here by saying, I tell you, folks, this is just ridiculous. How much more are we going to take? They're just announcing the fact that TSA is going to be on the streets, which they already are in 50 states. They're going to be in the malls, the buses, the airplanes. They're just going to be everywhere. Military on the streets, checkpoints everywhere. This is just ridiculous. And then they have all these other things with biochemicals in the caves of Austin. But anyway, I'm going to end it with this podcast. So remember, united we stand, divided we fall. You can follow me on Facebook, YouTube, Vimeo, and Daily Motion at Madness4life News. Just type it in the NSA Google search and you'll find me there. You can find me at also planetinfowars.com. You can friend me at Facebook. So see you guys next week on Monday, and have a good day. Bye.